Parang nga pong piskal, parang preliminary investigation. Pag tayo po pumunta sa piskal, at ang dala lang natin doon ay puro paratang, wala man lang supporting document, what will the fiscal do? Dismiss the case outright.
Ay meron po tayong hindi mailatag na ebidensya sa mga maestrado po na nandito para talagang maging buo yung larawan nila bago po kayo magpapasya.
Yeah. I don't think there's any question that all of us here want na mailatag yung ebidensya. The question is, do you have the evidence or are you fishing for the evidence? And that's a question.
Palakpakan na natin siya. Right. Day 1 ho tayo sa week 3 ng impeachment trial nitong si Vice President Sara Duterte dyan sa Senado. Wala pa rin ho tayong maraming pag-uusapan dito sa video na to. Paalalahanan ko lang ang ating mga kababayan, ngayong araw na to ay nawa 175 million pesos na ho tayo dyan sa impeachment na yan. Sang-ayon ho ba kayo? Kada araw meron na lang manalo ng 1 million pesos kaysa mag-impeachment tayo. Ipamigay na lang yung 25 million na yan sa ating mga kababayang mahihirap ngayong mga panahon na to. Kasi wala ho tayong nakikitang tulong dito sa impeachment na to. Nagsusunog ho tayo ng 25 million kada araw sa napakawalang kwentang bagay. Isang like at isang subscribe. Masaya na ho tayo dyan at sa mga gusto sumali sa ating committee, yung join button nandiyan lang ho sa baba. Reset ho tayo mga kababayan. Ang magtatanong ho dito si Senator Alan Peter Cayetano. Good.
Such statement in the Duterte case as obiter dictum, and I'd like to reiterate, it's very important that we all understand and come to our own conclusions because many times during this trial and even in the decision we'll have to make, this question will play a center, will be front and center. So may I ask Attorney Poa, do you think that statement was a obiter dictum?
As stated, Your Honors, thank you for the question. As stated last week, Your Honors, it is our position of the defense that that is not obiter dictum, precisely because, Your Honors, it is our theory that when the Supreme Court decided the case of Duterte versus HOR, the point that the one-year bar was triggered is precisely because there was a violation of due process. That's why if you read the decision, Supreme Court, through the words of course, Senior Associate Justice Marvic Leonen, painstakingly discussed what due process is actually in an impeachment proceeding. And in fact, there was a line in that decision that says that they wanted to clarify the guidelines on impeachment proceedings. Further to that, Your Honor, hindi lang po sa decision, pero pati po doon sa binibigay na primer or summary ng Supreme Court bago nila ilabas yung buong decision, they enumerated the guidelines which were around 7 points if I'm not mistaken. And the 6th point is actually on what is an impeachable offense. And in fact, we have prepared copies of that primer for the senator judges which we can distribute. So that makita po nyo na while ang effect ay na-trigger yung one-year bar, it was really due process that the Supreme Court was discussing in that case to guide. Yes.
Commission Counsel for Respondent, kindly submit that to the Clerk of Court.
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. You may proceed, sir.
So while as I was saying, Your Honors, while ang end result is na-trigger yung one-year bar and that's why void yung naging first round of impeachment. Ang talagang pinag-uusapan ng Supreme Court dito is the observance of due process in every stage of the proceeding. And that is why it is very important na mapag-usapan natin na yung kasama doon is really kung ano ba talaga ang isang impeachable offense. At nakasulat doon, if I may quote, the basis of any charge must be for impeachable acts or omissions committed in relation to their office, meaning in relation to their impeachable office and during the current term of the impeachable officer. So that is why, Your Honors, it is the view of the defense na hindi po obiter lang itong pronouncement ng Supreme Court na to as to what constitutes as an impeachable offense.
Yes. I'm not texting. I got on my phone the Duterte versus House of Representatives because, of course, my follow-up questions was to get into the mind of the prosecution when to apply the Duterte case and when not to. So, but I'll still ask you the same question. So what's more logical, that the due process requirement that the acts committed should have been on the term is also applied to the other modes or just to the 1/3 mode?
All modes of impeachment, Your Honor. That is our position. Kasi po, we would veer into absurdity, no? Na kung dun sa 1/3 mode tayo, ang impeachable offenses limited lang sa term, pero pagdating doon naman sa other mode, which dinaanan, admittedly, at yun yung dinaanan nitong current proceedings natin, mag-iiba ang definition ng impeachable offense. I do not see any logic on why there's a difference because an impeachable offense is an impeachable offense. So para po sa atin, that should apply. And in fact, the Supreme Court did not make a distinction as to the guidelines that it laid down in that decision.
Partida, ay si Jokno talagang puspusan hong ginawa niyang paghahanda dito kay Attorney Michael Poca. Gusto niya hong bawian itong si Attorney Poca, pero hindi matinik ho talaga itong si Attorney Poca. Kita niyo naman ho kung paano siya makipagsabayan dito sa mga veteranong senador at veteranong abogado kagaya nitong si Jokno. Hindi natin sinasabing di magaling si Jokno. Sinasabi natin dito, mahusay hong bumasag ng argumento itong si Attorney Michael Poca. At mas kakonbi-convince yung paraan ng pagpapaliwanag niya, kung paano niya atakehin yung sinasabi ni Doc. Mas kapani-paniwala ho yung mga sinasabi niya. Bigyan natin ng puto si Attorney Michael Poca. Ay, teka, mali. Yan, dyan tayo sa defense. So, yan.
Your Honors, please.
Yeah, so in the first page, sabi dito, second, considering the nature of the offices and the institution that are subject to impeachment, its effect on the independence of constitutional departments and organs, and its nature as a constitutional process, all legal issues involving impeachment proceedings are subject to judicial review. While the court does not determine when, who, and whether an impeachable officer may be removed and disqualified from political office, it has the duty to construe and process mandated by the Constitution. So is this for you part of the ratio decidendi or is this a obiter dictum?
Ratio, Your Honors. In fact, that's why the Supreme Court, when it started the decision, said that the end does not justify the means, no? Because it was precisely discussing the means. Ano ba yung dapat nating sinusunod na proseso?
So since we're talking about subpoenas, we'll go to the end and the means, the justified means.
With the permission of Senator Judge Allen, I would just like to get the assent of the counsel from the panel of prosecutors. The document sought to be distributed by the counsel for respondent is a July 25, 2025 discussion on the Duterte v. HOR on the one-year bar rule. Again, it's dated last year. With the permission of the prosecution, we shall distribute it without prejudice to the counsel for the panel of prosecutors to also furnish whenever it shall so desire, because this issue, as pointed out by Senator Judge Cayetano, will linger until the end of the proceedings, without prejudice to the counsel from the panel of prosecutors to so furnish also Senator judges with their rejoinder to this document being furnished to the senator judges. Is that okay?
Your Honor, I believe that, first of all, may we request for a copy of that document. I believe that document refers to the office of the spokesperson.
That's correct,
Of the
Your
Supreme Court. In which case, Your Honor, we would have to interpose an objection because any interpretation by the office of the spokesperson is not binding on the Supreme Court. What we must look at are the actual text of the decision.
Well, counsel, you can say that in your rejoinder. Point that out in your rejoinder and point that out in your submission.
We will do that, Your Honor.
So ordered. Clerk of Court is directed to kindly distribute the copies to the senator judges without prejudice to the panel of prosecutors submitting a rejoinder to this document. Senator Judge Alan Cayetano, you may proceed, sir. Apologies for the interruption.
Presiding officer, to be fair to I wouldn't have objected if you objected to the distribution, but realistically, we won't have time to read it because magruruling na
Yes.
after. So it'll be more of reference materials. But feel free also to, if you feel that you should submit in writing a rejoinder to be fair to everyone. So if the voting was tomorrow, and it would be...
Kumbaga, kung hindi man ma-impeach si VP Sara, gusto na lang nilang sulitin itong pagkakataon na to para talagang masiraan itong si VP Sara. Sa gayong paraan sa 2028 hindi siya manalo. Kumbaga nag-aano na sila, pag-asa na lang, sige, siraan na lang natin, di ba? Gagastos tayo ng 25 million per day para masiraan si Sara Duterte. Nakamantoko, hindi na naging sapat yung ginagasta ng House of Representatives sa kaliwat ka ng hearing. Ngayon, pati impeachment court, ginamit pa nila para panira kay VP Sara. Ibang klase talaga tong administration na to. Adik na adik, pambihira talaga.
Fair to distribute it. So can I ask the same question, Congressman? So I read, it's the first few paragraphs, no? Sabi kasi dito, you heard me naman, no? You want me to read it again, or?
If I may be allowed to respond already to the
Yes, go ahead.
question. First of all, Your Honor, I think we must point out one of the plainest reasons why that statement in the Duterte ruling is obiter dictum. And that simply is because there was no trial yet to speak of when the Supreme Court rendered that decision. Paano po magiging issue yung nangyayari ngayon sa trial, samantalang nung dinesisyonan po yan ay wala pa pong trial. Therefore, any statements by the court about how the trial should be conducted are outside the issues of that case, and while they may be guidelines, they are not binding as judicial precedent to us and to the future generations.
Actually, I was referring to a different matter already, but just to that point, it's not how, it's what. Because it's paragraph 6. So the basis of the charge must be for impeachable acts or omissions committed in relation to their office and during the current term of the impeachable officer. For the President and Vice President, these acts must be sufficiently grave, amounting to the crimes described in Article 11, Section 3.1 of betrayal of public trust given by the majority of the electorate. For the other impeachable officers, the acts must be sufficiently grave that they undermine and outweigh the respect for their constitutional independence and autonomy. So this doesn't really tell us how to conduct the trial. This basically tells us that if we don't follow that, we're endangered of having a trial that's void ab initio.
I would have to respectfully disagree, Your Honor.
Anyway, we've gone through that argument, and I won't argue with both of you. Going back to this is what I read, no?
Sabi niya, natural, disagree ka dyan dahil trabaho nyo nga yan eh. Hanggat maaari ka nga mapanagot nyo si Sara Duterte sa kasalanang hindi niya naman ginawa, di ba?
Second, considering the nature of the offices and the institutions that are subject to impeachment, it affects on independence of constitutional department and organs, and its nature as a constitutional process, all legal issues involving impeachment proceedings are subject to judicial review. I'll stop there. Kasi nabanggit mo kanina, may I speak English Filipino? Nabanggit mo po kanina na that's for us to decide, and my interpretation, and I've felt like that many times, diba, na zealous dapat ang impeachment court sa powers niya kasi not only because it's sui generis, wala tong apologize to Senator Judge Risa, my phone fell there. So, wala nga tong, you cannot appeal the decision of my belief, no? You cannot appeal the decision of to acquit or to convict to the Supreme Court, diba? But the parameters, so let me use the words of the Supreme Court, no? Ang sabi niya, all legal issues involving impeachment proceeding are subject to judicial review. So you disagree with this or you agree? In context ng sinabi mo kanina na it's within our power to make these decisions.
I believe what is the controlling decisions there, Your Honor, are the cases of Gutierrez and Francisco. Because in those cases, the issue of what is an impeachable offense was squarely brought before the court, and the court said very clearly that that is purely a political question that's not within the judicial power for us to decide. And I believe that that should be the controlling jurisprudence.
So let me be more specific. So for example, we issue some subpoenas and we do not issue some. Can one or both of you, meaning the prosecution and defense, go to the Supreme Court and question it?
Well, there is always the possibility that some side, perhaps the defense, may claim that there's a grave abuse of discretion, I believe, as they have done in their other petitions filed, and therefore make an attempt to stop the proceedings before this court. But as I have said last week, Your Honor, in our opinion, it is this court has the sole and exclusive power to decide what an impeachable offense is, and no one, not even the Supreme Court, can dictate on this court in making that decision.
Yes. Same answer.
No, Your Honor.
No,
I have a different...
So, okay, you can go back to that question. Then my follow-up question was, so let's say certain orders of the court, can the prosecution or defense go up to the Supreme Court and question its constitutionality?
Yes, Your Honor. It is our position that either of the parties can do that. Why? Because sa atin nga, ang sabi natin kanina, that the Constitution cannot be read in isolation. So while the Constitution gives the sole power to the Senate to try an impeachment case, to try and hear an impeachment case, we must read this in conjunction with, again, Article 3, Bill of Rights, and Article 8, specifically Section 1, which is the power of the judicial review. So pag sa tingin po ng isang panig, merong grave abuse of discretion na naganap, we are of the position that, in fact, this is a justiciable issue and can be brought before the Supreme Court, Your Honor.
So at least in that small point, I think we all agree that if we think there's grave abuse of discretion, there's a possibility that the Supreme Court will take it up. I'm not referring to the subpoena, I'm talking in general. So I'll skip a few pages of my questions precisely because I wanted to elicit your opinions or your stand regarding the fact that the impeachment court is supreme, but it's not true that we can do anything or we can just make decisions that are not based on statutes and on legal orders. In fact, when the Supreme Court issued a TRO regarding the foreign accounts or the dollar account in the Corona case, the impeachment court voted to respect the TRO. No? But of course, we did vote. So there could have been a constitutional crisis if we voted not to. And then, of course, we know because of history, nag-waiver na lang si Chief Justice Corona. No? So can I go now to the ultimate facts? No? I don't know if Senator Joel, but Senator Pia asked a little bit about this. Just a quick review, or maybe, so we're also governed by the rules of court when it comes to ultimate facts. This is what Section 1 says. In general, every pleading shall contain in a methodological and logical form a plain, concise, and direct statement of the ultimate facts, including the evidence, on which the party relies on his or her claim of defense as the case may be. If a cause of action or defense relied on is based on law, the pertinent provisions thereof and their applicability to him or her will be clearly and concisely stated. So does the two councils agree that sa ultimate facts, you have to include the evidence?
I would make a distinction, Your Honor, between what we call ultimate facts and evidentiary facts, which are the pieces of evidence that could be used to come to the conclusion or to decide whether those ultimate facts are present in the case or not.
Yeah, I think all of us lawyers agree with that. There's a difference between ultimate facts and evidentiary facts. But the rules of court says, including evidence. Kasi kung walang including evidence, ang kailangan mo lang i-file, ultimate facts. Pero pag sinabing kasama ang evidence, for me, it doesn't mean that every single testimony in every single document should be attached. But so let me go to my second question. So pwede bang sa articles of impeachment, ultimate facts lang, walang naka-attach na evidence?
Ang requirement po sa pleading ay doon na dapat nakasaad ang ultimate facts. But if you look at the articles of impeachment that are before this court, it also contains evidentiary factual allegations to support the ultimate facts that are contained therein.
Thank you for that answer. Actually, that was my next question. Did it contain? And you answered it. So with respect to the Saballa and Cabrera impeachment complaints, is it correct that there was no authentic records that were attached when they were filed? Factual lang tong tanong ko.
If Your Honor, please, first of all, I would have to raise an issue with respect to whether this honorable court is acting as an appellate or review court of what happened during the House proceedings. The power to initiate an impeachment complaint is exclusively lodged with the House, while the power to try and decide that impeachment case is exclusively lodged with this honorable court. And I don't believe that it is part of the function to go back to what may have happened during the proceedings before the House, since the articles have already been transmitted to this
Well,
honorable.
Counsel, even your students, colleagues recognize that you are a brilliant man. You're very well learned sa law, but minsan mabilis. Kasi actually, that's not where I was going. Binaliktad ko lang. So two of my colleagues started with, or in your discussions, ano yung fishing expedition going down to ultimate facts and evidentiary. Ako, I wanted to distinguish when is it a fishing expedition and when it's not. So I just wanted to know as a fact. Or can we take judicial notice that there was no authentic records in the Saballa and Cabrera?
What's the point again, Senator Judge? There were no authentic.
It was just preliminary because I wanted to compare it with other impeachment complaints, and I wanted to ask the question, when is it a fishing expedition or hindi? So these are legitimate questions. So factually, yung Saballa and Cabrera ba, may authentic records attached? Ang information ko.
Ang sabi siguro Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, gusto niyo ako patahimikin ha? Gusto niyo akong gusto niyo manahimik ako? Hindi! Lalo ako mag-iingay.
Wala. But I don't want to...
I believe, Senator Judge Alan, that the Zaballa and Cabrera complaints were attached as an annex,
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken, to the respondent's answer. Would that be
Yes.
correct, Attorney Poe?
And to be fair,
Your
it was...
As well as the annexes.
Yes, Your Honor.
In fact, the presiding officer noticed that it lacked a page in one of the annexes to the, I think, Zaballa complaint,
So,
which
anyway,
I think pointed out. So that's a fact.
Yeah,
So it's in the
lang-
records, Senator Judge
Factual
Alan.
lang po. So, in the absence of authentic supporting record, what factual basis did the prosecution rely on to say that the allegations were sufficient in form and substance?
If I recall correctly, Your Honor, please, there were some attachments to both complaints. And I'm not aware of any rule in the House of Representatives as far as impeachment cases are concerned that limit what may be discussed or investigated by the committee to only what is contained and attached to the
Yes.
impeachment
I'm not
complaint.
questioning if there's an attachment. I'm questioning whether there was, I'm asking question. I'm not even questioning it. I'm asking questions on if there were authentic records. So I'll move on, no? In the complaint against President Bongbong Marcos, the finding was the complaint failed to establish any factual nexus between the president and an impeachable offense. What are presented were policy and disagreements and generalized accusations, not ultimate facts. Yun ang finding ng Committee on Justice. Correct?
Yes, Your Honor, to the best of my
So
recollection.
that's my question. After answering that question, does the prosecution agree that the requirement of alleging ultimate facts applies equally to all impeachment complaints, regardless of it's the president or the vice president, regardless if it's the ombudsman or the COA chairman?
Yes, Your Honor, and as I recall, when the members of the committee examined the complaint filed against the president, the conclusion of the committee was in fact that there were only conclusions of law contained in that complaint, not allegations of ultimate facts.
Yes, yet in that complaint, there were documents attached, authentic records, and the House did not ask na masupina yung AMLA, BIR, and bank records of the president.
The requirement, if Your Honor, please, of ultimate facts is really based on what is alleged in the petition or complaint
But
itself.
what was the exact words of counsel? Ang katotohanan ay
Confidential.
hindi confidential. So why in the case of President Marcos is
Nako!
the katotohanan confidential, but in the case of Vice President Sara, it's not confidential?
Wala naman po akong maalalang ruling ng committee in the case of the President na
Palakpakan natin si Senator Alan Peter Cayetano. Ba't ganon? Ba't ganon, Yokno? Ba't may ganon?
meron silang sinabing confidential.
No,
What I recall is that the conclusion was that the complaint did not allege ultimate facts.
So there was a conclusion even before asking for all of this. But in this case, balikta, there was a conclusion that there's no nexus between the president and an impeachable offense. In this case, walang authentic documents pero humihingi ng supina kasi yung katotohanan hindi confidential.
Aray ko!
Which goes to my, well, first, let me honor who I should honor because it seems that the Lisa Masa complaint, which was endorsed by ACT party list, was here kanina, and I think Antonio Tino, I think Sara Elago was here the last week, and I think Representative Ko was here. So in their case kasi, I can say walang selective justice because they wanted the same standards of president and vice president. So that's my next question. We want fairness for everyone and for the Filipino people, but would it be unfair to require 20 years of documents from AMLA, BIR, and bank accounts from Vice President Sara without requiring the same from President Bongbong, considering that all of these scandals is happening during his administration?
Naku po. Palakpakan natin si Senator Alan Peter Cayetano.
The allegations of the complaint against the president did in fact contain ultimate facts. I would see no reason why the Committee on Justice should not have proceeded with it.
So I'll take that answer. May I ask the same question? Rule 8, ultimate facts including evidence. So the answer of the prosecution was that basta't may evidentiary facts. But ang nakalagay kasi sa Section 1 ng Rule 8, including evidence, what is the position of the defense on this?
The defense follows strictly the rules, Your Honors. While I agree with the distinguished opposing counsel na iba yung ultimate facts and evidentiary facts, no? I don't want to blur that line. Tama naman po yung sinabi ng ating opposing. But yun nga po yung punto namin, no? In the Zavalya and Cabrera complaints, wala pong ultimate facts at wala din pong evidence or evidentiary na nakakalakip doon po sa mga complaints, and which is the very issue that we brought up to the Supreme Court, Your Honor.
So if you were representing now the president and the opposing counsel was also asking for 20 years of records of AMLA, bank accounts, and BIR, would you still have the same position?
Your Honors,
That unless it is relevant and definite, I read in your pleadings, diba, and in your position paper na yun yung... So kasi I'll ask na rin my next question. Why is it definite in your view?
Opo. So on the first question, yes, Your Honor. Even if I were to be representing the President now, I would have the same view, no? Na hindi po pwedeng ganun ka 20 years ang span ng mga documents na hiningi, precisely because the jurisprudence provides that for a valid subpoena to issue, it must be particularly described, plus yung sinasabi po natin na relevance. Now, to the second question as to why it is not particularly described, Your Honors, unang-una, let's start with the bank accounts. No? Yung bank accounts na naka-enumerate sa kanilang request, it is our position na yun po yung natawag kanina na fruit of the poisonous tree. Because as you can see, lahat po ng pinanggalingan na accounts na yan ay yung AMLAC. But which we are contesting, no? Sa amin po, unlawful po yung naging disclosure sa Committee on Justice. But more importantly, pangalawa, aside from just the mere bank accounts, the documents they're asking, Your Honors, while they are specified, kung titingnan mo talaga ng mabuti kung anong hinihingi nila, they're asking for all bank records without any assertion as to why all of these are relevant. to prove whatever allegation they have stated in the articles of impeachment.
I'll skip many questions here and go to that question. But to be fair, Congressman Dioknos, you said that's an exclusive authority, right, power of the House. So if I want to question the difference, I'll do that in either the Senate or as a private citizen. So I won't go into that. But I ask that now in context of whether or not the certain parameters in the subpoena you're asking for is valid or not. So let me just go to this series of questions. This is really a discussion into what is substantial facts, what's ultimate facts, what's essential facts, what are, and as you said, Attorney Powa, we don't want to bore everyone with that, but it's important in terms of due process. So basically, di ba, the ultimate facts are that establish the charge, in this case, unexplained wealth. So let me put it this way in my question to Attorney and Congressman Prosecutor Joke. No. So like if I say that may kilala akong politiko, commissioner ng ganito or congressman, senator, whatever, ang SALN niya was 1 peso or what's a reasonable amount?
Si Ping Lacson yan, si Ping Lacson.
SALN niya was 1 million, 20 years later it's 20 million versus the commissioner of BIR in 5 years, it gained 50 million compared to this congressman ganito. Then I said, eto lang income niya, unexplained wealth yan. In your view, is that sufficient na for the impeachment court then to issue the subpoenas? Or do you have to specify na, for example, you say that that commissioner, sa SALN niya, he only had 2 cars, but he actually has more than 4. Therefore, penging subpoena para sa LTO. O that commissioner, ang sabi niya, isa lang ang bahay niya. Pero subpoena sa LRA kasi 4 ang nakita namin. Diba? Kasi on the later examples, medyo mas malinaw yung ultimate facts. Pero yung pag sinabi mo lang, eto SALN, eto tumaas, which was my point actually in my last few vlogs, that just because tumaas yung SALN, that doesn't mean that there's ill-gotten wealth. But my question there was, does that give us now the authority to get the bank accounts, the AMLA and the BIR? Because whatever we do in the impeachment court is for impeachable officers. But nanonood din yung Sandigan Bayan, nanonood din RTC, MTC, nanonood din yung Supreme Court. So whatever rule we have here, that will influence then how we deal with barangay captains all the way to anyone who's not impeachable, no?
For unexplained wealth, Your Honor, I believe the ultimate facts must include the following. First, that the person involved amassed wealth. Second, that that wealth is manifestly disproportionate to that person's lawful income. So kailangan po natin makita kung ano yung kanyang kayamanan at kailangan natin ikumpara doon sa lehitimo niyang kinita. And that can be only determined by looking at the records that we are requesting from this honorable court.
No, but
So halimbawa, itong si Erwin Tulfo, reporter lang siya sa napakahabang panahon, tapos daang-daang milyon ang laman ng kanyang bangko. At sinabi nung isang nagtagal sa larangan ng newscasting o pagiging anchor o reporter, kagaya nitong si Sir Jason Sa, hindi totoo yan, posible naman yan, tagal kong naging ganito, ganyan, di man ako mabot sa ganyan, di ba? Hindi ako nag-100 million piso, di ba? O pwede na ba nating silipin yung mga bank accounts nito si Erwin Tulfo, gano'n? Pagka naging vice president siya o naging president siya. Tak lang.
if you're just looking at the SALN at yung kinita niya, so I'll give you a example. I won't name the person para walang mag-react. But he was senator, I think in 1987, an outstanding human being. And he was telling us, etong lupa na to, nabili ko ng 1980 o 1970 na 50,000. Nabenta ko ng 1990. Kaya lang sa SALN, ang nakalagay kasi doon yung acquired cost. So nilagay ko 50,000. So kung titignan mo kami, then he named some other great senators, etc. Nakasabayan niya, congressman at dito. Titignan mo, si senator ganito, kami, lahat. O, ang SALN namin baka 5 million. Pero yung 100,000 na lupa na binili namin noon, baka 5 million, 20 million, 30 million. So if one of those officials suddenly sold the property and then placed the money that came in, so let's say the 100,000 property was sold for 5 million, but then for example, pinang-blow out niya sa pamilya yung 500,000 before December 31 of that year, mag-i-increase yung kanyang SALN by 4.5 million. So if you just compare his income na sweldo niya with that will not show you that he has ill-gotten wealth. So compared na pagka inallege ko na ang sweldo niya 200,000, eto, pero bakit may bahay siya sa ganito, nawala sa SALN niya. Diba? So I agree na sundan natin yung ebidensya. If the SALN is much more than what you're making, that could spark your curiosity, your suspicion, and continue to investigate. But do you make the conclusion now and file the impeachment case that since malayo yung SALN sa income, therefore ill-gotten yon, without giving that person a way to explain before you subpoena every single document about their lives?
That's precisely why, Your Honor, they call it unexplained wealth. Doon po natin malalaman yan sa mga dokumento.
No, I agree.
Kung
They call it go ahead,
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
I'm sorry. I'm the one. Please continue.
Kung halimbawa sa binigay niyong example ay nag-appreciate yung value of the land, then I would not call that unexplained. I would call that explained wealth.
Yes, but you're introducing a new concept now, unexplained wealth versus ill-gotten wealth. I agree with you. Unexplained wealth is that if you look at the SALN at hindi tumutugma, may may unexplained wealth. That's why you ask them to explain it. And then pag hindi maganda yung explanation and may ebidensya ka, then you can go against that person for ill-gotten wealth. Diba? But like in certain parts here, I saw some that I would consider even without asking you evidence. But for example, yung mga kumpanya. Sabi dito, lugi yung kumpanya. So kung lugi yung kumpanya, hindi makaka-contribute yun sa kanyang ill-gotten wealth kung meron man. So why are we getting all the documents about those companies? Doon pumapasok yung criticism ng iba. Is this a fishing expedition?
Yo!
Kasi
Natumbok na naman niya. Galing siya na to.
if I had 5 companies,
Tama ng utak, ba't hindi na lang ginawa defense ni VP Sara to, no? Sigurado panalo tayo pagka ito abogado
and
natin.
they were all making money.
Partida, nakagitna lang siya dito. Pinapagsalita niya si Jokno, pinapagsalita niya ito si Atty. Poa. Pero yung ika nga lumalabas yung fishing expedition na pinaplano ng prosecution.
And supposedly I only own 1% of that company but I'm getting half of that income, I would agree with you, isupina lahat yan. Tignan natin yung flow niyan, baka yan yung pumasok sa akin. Pero lugi nga yung mga kumpanya eh. As an example, as an example. So that's my point. Is it enough in the view of the prosecution panel just to allege, malaki yung SALN mo, bigger than your monthly sweldo, both of us agree, it's unexplained. But is it ill-gotten? Or do you need more allegations to show that it was ill-gotten?
Well, Your Honor, please, the decision whether wealth is unexplained or, as you said, ill-gotten is really a decision that this honorable court will make based on the evidence. Ang gusto lang po namin ay mailatag ang ebidensya sa inyong harap para kayong na mismo ang magsabi. At para malaman po yan, we have to look at the statements of assets, liabilities, and net worth. We have to look at the lawful income reported in the ITRs. We have to look at the bank records in terms of kung ano yung pumasok at lumabas sa kanilang mga accounts. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Yeah, go ahead, Gert. It's mine.
As
Sorry.
far as the businesses are concerned, that has to do with the third subcharge under unexplained wealth. Yung pong continuing to participate in business interests despite the clear and express prohibition provided in the Constitution. We want to know whether those businesses, yung ba ay mga operational ba ito? Ito ba ay talagang sasabihin natin na nandun yung sinasabi nga na inaamin ni Vice President sa kanyang SALN na business interest nga niya yon.
Yeah, I'm skipping because this is mostly questions on fishing expedition. I'll go to the defense after this, but Can you tell us the difference between evidence and proof? In your layman's term or legal terms? Or if you want to look it up, but in how do we explain to people the difference between evidence and proof?
Napakabigat po ng inyong tanong.
No, in our words lang,
I will
para
try
lang
my
maintindihan.
best, Your Honor, to answer it. In a court
Hindi ka na sana naging joke no. Hindi ka na sana nagka-apelyidong joke no. Kung mahihirapan ka dyan, pambihira.
proceeding, whether we're speaking of an impeachment court or a regular court, the judges look at the evidence. They may never be able to know the entire truth kasi ang pangyayari ay nangyari dati pa po. Essentially, a trial is really a reconstruction of something that happened before. So it may happen in some cases that there is enough evidence to make conclusions as far as a judgment is concerned, even if the members of the court did not get to see the entire truth.
Yes.
Ang gusto po namin maiwasan dito sa impeachment court ay meron po tayong hindi mailatag na ebidensya sa mga maestrado po na nandito para talagang maging buo yung larawan nila bago po kayo magpapasya.
Yeah. I don't think there's any question that all of us here want na mailatag yung ebidensya. The question is, do you have the evidence or are you fishing for the evidence? And that's a question
Palakpakan na natin siya. Right.
not only for you, but for every single impeachment process, not only the umabot dito, because myself, Senator Subiri, Senator Chis Escudero, then later on Senator Villanueva, has been in the House many times during impeachments of presidents and chief justices, no? But the reason I ask between evidence and proof is because if you have the evidence, you want the opportunity, diba, to bring it here, show the relevancy, connect it to the crime, we admit it so that if it's true, then we can convict. The opposite sides na will either question, hindi admissible yan, or admissible pero walang relationship yan, etc. No? So what I'm saying is that if you're going to prove your case with no evidence except that if you get all of that, then magiging arbitrary yung House of Representatives sinong gusto nilang i-impeach because almost any public official who's been there for a long time, you will see discrepancies in their SALN because unang-una iba yung acquisition cost at iba yung current value at iba din yung deadline ng December 31, no? Which after this I'll ask the defense to answer, then I'll go into the AMLA, which is different from bank accounts, no? So if you're coming to the court with evidence already, but kinukuha mo yung subpoena na yan, di ba, to further prove your point, I don't think there'll be a question there. As Attorney Powa said kanina na kung yung BIR box na yan, alam natin yung laman, and dapat gamitin dito, they inallege nyo na. Pero kung hindi alam yung laman, are we fishing there if there's a tax evasion or wala? I don't know the answer. I'm asking you the question. You can answer it in any way you're comfortable in answering.
If I may briefly narrate the procedure that the House might had to undergo for the articles to reach this honorable court. When the complaints were filed before the House of Representatives, the Committee on Justice was tasked not with conducting a trial, not with ferreting out all the evidence, but simply determining whether there was probable cause to proceed with the case. So hindi po namin hinanap yung kabuuan ng ebidensya dahil hindi po namin tungkulin yon.
Yes.
When we made the determination that there was sufficient probable cause to proceed with that case, then that is what we submitted into
Yun ang problema. For example, kagaya na lamang nung kay Marcos Jr. Kahit may probable cause dahil nga kaalyado kayo, binasura na lang ng ganun-ganun lang. Pero dahil kalaban nitong si VP Sara, kahit walang probable cause, pinagpilitan para magkaroon ng probable cause. Sa gayong paraan, maipipili dyan sa impeachment court na talagang dapat i-impeach si Sara Duterte. Hindi ba ho ganun na nangyari? Your Honor, please.
terms of the articles of impeachment that reached this honorable court. Ngayon, siyempre po, just like a preliminary investigation conducted by a prosecutor, ang hawak lang po niyang ebidensya, ang titingnan lang po niya ay kung merong probable cause. Not all the evidence yet is before that prosecutor because wala pa pong trial. The presentation of evidence, even the subpoena or compulsion to present evidence will only happen when the trial takes place. And yung tinutukoy po ninyong fishing expedition, yun ay maaaring sabihin natin nangyari kung only if the party requesting the evidence or documents ay nagbabakasakali lang. Baka may makuha tayo dito. In our case, I have to disagree that there was any sort of fishing expedition because based on what the Committee on Justice and later the plenary of the House found was sufficient, there was enough cause to proceed with the
I'll
case.
go to probable cause, but yung sinabi mo, baka sakaling may makukuha dito. You said hindi ganon. So anong makukuha natin if we grant all the subpoenas you're requesting?
The evidentiary facts, Your Honor, that were not yet, hindi pa nakita ng House nung ang ginagawa lang po namin ay determinahin ang probable cause.
So nagbabaka sakali din.
Hindi po.
No, kasi
Walang pangano natin siya.
you said,
Because there is basis for
Yeah.
requesting for
so
the
what
bank
will you
records.
see? You still don't know what you'll see.
We are basing the request for the bank records on the evidence and information provided by the Anti-Money Laundering Council, which appears to show that there were billions of pesos that went through the accounts
Okay.
of the Vice President during that
Let's go
period
to
of
that
time.
with the permission of the defense, then I think you're listing down naman. So the Anti-Money Laundering Council, no, does not deal with income. They deal with flow, right? So pag sinabing billion, that doesn't mean that a certain official has billions in their account. So meaning if I have 1 million pesos deposit on January 1, and then on January 5, I take it out and put it in time deposit for 1 month, and 1 month later it comes out with 2% time deposit, hindi na 1 million yon. 1 million in, 1 million out, 2 million, 1 million in the time deposit, 3 million. Paglabas na may 2%, 1 million 2 pesos, 1 million 2,000 pesos, 4 million na yon. So hindi evidentiary yun, speculation sa
Speculation yun.
ikot ng pera. Meaning, all I have to do is find someone with a bank account and give them a long enough period, and I will say that they have hundreds of millions or billions.
Precisely, Your Honor, that is why we want the bank records to be produced. Because, as you mentioned, the
Huwag na kasi kayong tumango. Yung mga nasa likod, huwag na kayong tatango-tango.
only reports submitted by the
Merong backup dati na rin.
Anti-Money Laundering Council pertain to covered and suspicious transaction reports. They do not show us the exact balances that were contained
Yes. And
in those
suspicious-
bank accounts. And it is only the bank records that will provide
Yes.
that information.
Agree, and it's suspicion. When you say suspicion, that does mean necessarily suspicion that it's attached to a AMLA crime, but it could be suspicious meaning 6 months walang gumagalaw, biglang everyday ngayon gumalaw. Di ba? Yun yung definition ng part ng definition ng AMLA. But if you cannot connect AMLA and the bank accounts, that's precisely what the defense and other people are saying. Aren't you
Fishing
fishing
expedition.
between the three? Fishing means hindi mo pa hawak, so you're trying to get a fish, in this case, a very big fish. Di ba? So, pag sinabing hindi fishing expedition, meron ka ng ebidensya. But you want to prove that in court, and you need that to prove it, but you know what to prove already.
Correct.
If
Palakpakan natin itong si Senator Cayetano. Husay.
we bring Your Honor's logic to its conclusion, that would mean that the Committee on Justice would have to conduct a full-blown trial, get all the evidence at that level, so that we do not have to fish anymore when we get to this court. When that is not the contemplation of the procedure for impeachment under the
I
Constitution.
won't argue what the
With the
House...
permission of the gentleman of the floor, Senator Cayetano,
Last 2 questions.
thank you very much.
So, Senator Escudero, myself, we were in the Estrada and Arroyo impeachment. And it's harder to impeach a president than a vice president. Di ba? But whether it was accounts, anong laman, property, kotse, we did our homework. So it's not my place to tell you you did or not. Kaya nga tinatanong ko, may ebidensya ba o wala? Or is it a fishing expedition or not? But as I said a while ago, I won't argue. So I have one last question after that, but I'll go first to the defense. In the context of what I asked, no? Between those two examples, eto salin mo, eto income mo, malaki salin mo, we can agree it's unexplained. Kasi nga, you need to explain it further. But is it automatically ill-gotten wealth?
No, Your Honor.
So if it's not automatically ill-gotten wealth, in your view, I mean, I read this from your, maybe you can just restate, why is it a fishing expedition?
Opo. Your Honor, because precisely, yun pong sinasabi nila na unexplained wealth, they were basing it for 20 years, for one. No? Pangalawa, they couldn't pinpoint exactly bakit mo nasabing may unexplained. Alin dito sa properties yun unexplained. No?
Nako.
Third, and if I may elaborate from our memo, if you look at the articles of impeachment, it presupposes that the Vice President earned 30 million over a span of 20 years. Yes, they did not think about the Vice President not being in public office from 2013 to 2016. They didn't think about the income that could have, been generated by being married to a lawyer who had his own law office. So to us, it was basically a conjecture, speculation, conclusion of law and fact to say, biglang, uy, may unexplained wealth po dito. No? That's basically our point. And then secondly, the decision earlier, it was mentioned by distinguished opposing counsel, decision rests upon this court to determine kung meron ng unexplained wealth. I disagree with that. The ultimate decision rests upon this court, that is true. But the initial decision rests with the person accusing, di ba? Pero nung nag-accuse yung tao sa Sabalian Cabrera complaints, wala man lang nakasulat po doon. Kanina na-mention po yung should the Committee on Justice now conduct a full-blown trial. No, it shouldn't. It should just evaluate the complaint. Para nga pong piskal, parang preliminary investigation. Pag tayo po pumunta sa piskal at ang dala lang natin doon ay puro paratang, wala man lang supporting document, what will the fiscal do? Dismiss the case outright. Yan naman
Palakpakan natin to si Atty. Poa.
po ang totoo. No? So that was our point to begin with, and that is why we're saying fishing expedition ito. Kasi hindi mo man lang mapinpoint kung anong transaction yung sinasabi mong nag-amass ang Vice President natin. Anong taon na nag-amass yung Vice President natin ng ill-gotten wealth or unexplained wealth. At dahil doon, ngayon, we're asking for records spanning 20 years, both, BIR records, bank records, AMLAC records, which they already have, actually, from the Committee on Justice. Pero, hindi natin mapinpoint alin ba talaga dito. We cannot specify kung ano yung act, ano yung omission na ginawa niya na nakapag-amass siya ng unexplained wealth.
Talking about both parties talking about the fiscal or prosecutor, actually binago na rin ngayon. Probable cause with reasonable certainty mako-convict. So meaning you go to the fiscal's office that you point out ano yung crime, sino yung gumawa ng crime, and yung preliminary evidence mo might not be enough to convict at that time, but enough to say na hindi lang to marites. So if I go to the fiscal's office or ombudsman saying this senator has 150 million in SALN, 10 years ago it was 50 million, therefore it's ill-gotten wealth, and then wala pa akong ibang dala except yung magkano sweldo dito, I doubt the fiscal will file that case. But if I tell the fiscal that he has 2 cars in his SALN, but eto, I see him using 4, then give him the opportunity. But I can subpoena the LTO.
Fishing expedition. So, na-establish na natin dito sa video na to na talagang gusto mangyari ng prosecution, fishing
Kanino
expedition.
ba yung plate number na yan? Baka namang nasa
Kaya pala yung mga congressman sa House of Representatives, mayat maya nagpapapresko, anak ng toka, fishing expedition pala.
kapatid talaga niya, no? But the last set of questions, I'll just ask it once, no? So I think everyone understands naman the subpoena regarding the Vice President. The issue was really the dates and how specific or hindi. actually two questions. The corporations, do you not have to pierce the corporate veil, considering there's no allegations in the articles that these companies were used to amass ill-gotten wealth? In fact, I haven't read everything, but so far sa binasa ko, is hindi kumikita tong mga kumpanya na to, because there's a Supreme Court decision that if it's a joint account, may rights din yung isa. And I don't even know if we informed all of those companies that we might subpoena their records. So did we give them that opportunity? Isama ko na yung last question, Mr. Presiding Officer, and I won't follow it up, no? But yeah, the question was, because a law student asked me, Sir, bakit dinala yung box dito sa Senate? Ba't na lang hindi nila binuksan sa House? So sinagot ko sa kanila, ano ba turo ng professor nyo? Sir, hindi naman nakalagay impeachment trial in cases of impeachment. So the House was actually empowered to open the box there. So I just wanna know the position of both parties, kasi nahihiwagaan ako sa box na yon. Si Neil dinala dito, ibabalik sa inyo, then magsusupina tayo. But dun sa graduate na yung nagtanong sa akin doon, they discussed it daw in class, and their professor and their class, ang consensus is that the House could have opened it because the wording in the is it the BIR case or the bank accounts? No, bank accounts ata, yung in cases of impeachment yung nakalagay dun sa sa
Bank
batas.
accounts. Secrecy of bank deposits.
Yes. So ang question niya, let me rephrase, is that, did you do that there? Kasi if you did that there, hawak nyo na ngayon. Hindi na namin problema sana. No? So those two questions lang regarding do you think nag-comply yung requirements dun sa companies, and should we give notice to the companies? And secondly, about bank account, could you have opened it already in the House? Yung BIR din ba?
Counsel for the panel of prosecutors may respond. Thereafter, counsel for respondents.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And you would like to thank
Counsel, thank you very
Senator
much.
Judge
Thank you,
Allen for his
Senator
interjections.
If Your Honor, please, the doctrine of piercing the corporate veil applies when we are determining liability of the company or corporation involved. In this particular case, that doctrine has no application at all. We are asking for those records to be produced so that we can determine the extent of participation of the Vice President, as she herself had admitted those business interests in her salience. Kaya po namin hinihingi po yun. Kasi sa tingin po namin ay wala pong aplikasyon ang piercing the corporate veil. Second, as far as opening the box is concerned, while it is true that under Republic Act 1405, there's no qualification that impeachment trial lang po ang pwede. As I understand it, it was the better judgment of the committee out of sheer discretion and prudence not to, because at that time we were already being bombarded with petitions left and right seeking to restrain our proceedings. And we felt that it would be more prudent to bring the matter to this honorable court. Thank you.
Your Honor.
Counsel for the respondent.
On the first point, Your Honors, on piercing of the corporate veil, para sa amin, pwede lang naman under jurisprudence mag-pierce ng corporate veil. Ibig sabihin, kasi separate and distinct personality ng mga korporasyon, you can pierce that veil if there's an allegation of fraud. And in this case, wala naman pong allegation ng fraud. Pangalawa, kung totoo po na talagang hinahanap lang po ng kinakagalang-galang na prosecution ay tungkol dun sa divestment issue, then they will not need the tax records, the bank records, or even the AMLAC records of these companies, because all they need would be the GIS. The General Information Sheet would show you exactly the extent of the interest of the stockholders, hindi po ba? Pangalawa, pagdating naman po dun sa what's our position, pagdating sa bank secrecy and the exception on cases of impeachment. Sa aming pananaw, at the committee level, meaning Committee on Justice, ay hindi pa po applicable yung exception na ito. And we are holding on to the ruling of Marquez versus Ombudsman or Desierto, I believe, no? Wherein it was said na pagdating sa preliminary investigation, hindi pa po applicable yung mga exceptions under the Bank Secrecy Act, and there has to be a pending case before such bank documents are in fact subpoenaed. That is our position, Your Honors.
Thank you, counsels for the parties. Chair will now make a ruling, but prior to that ruling, Chair would like to inquire very, very briefly from the counsels. First, for the
Ayun na nga mga kababayan, dito na ho natatapusin ang ating reaction video. Maraming salamat sa pag-support sa PH Update. Sa susunod na video na ho yung ruling nitong si Kilay, no? Para ika nga talaga solidong-solido at pinakauna yung ruling na yun. As always, maraming salamat to. Mag-ingat po kayo lahat ng Pilipinas.